Hi everyone, welcome to Sage's Garage. Today I was unfortunately at work all day, but thankfully Dan and my dad were hard at work getting everything prepped for this. I actually have no idea if at this point I'm going to edit anything else into this video or if it's just going to be this video. So that'll be a fun surprise for you and me both. But all that matters is right now, it is finally time to put the engine into the car. This is huge. We have all been waiting for this for honestly years, and I'm so excited the moment is finally here. So honestly, without further ado, let's get this engine into the car where it belongs. Okay, so I lied. Slightly further ado. There's still so many parts that you need to see us assemble, and you need to see everything that they did during this day, because putting the engine in is the end of this day. I promise you only have like 10 or 12 minutes you have to watch, so you can do it. You can hang on a little bit longer to see the engine being put in. We still need to put on things like the alternator, the distributor, the flywheel, the fan belt, literally lots of things. So without further ado, let's finish assembling the engine before we put it in the car.
Okay, so we want to clean up this alternator a little bit because it's going to be quite predominant in the car. So we're going to unbolt the plastic here so we can get a flapper wheel on here, and then also get at these corroded leads to make sure they're making a good connection. We got to get all of this crud off of here now that the cap is off.
So on the last video, I had hooked an oil pressure gauge to this because I didn't take this apart, didn't know, just assumed that that was an oil pressure thing. It made an adapter to fit my gauge. Turns out this was actually, we looked through their old photos, it was here and was an auxiliary oil feed to the head. And I did some research on them, and I guess that can cause rod bearing failure, which is what their previous engine had suffered from. So we're going to eliminate this and just have a two-way adapter down here for an oil pressure gauge and the factory
So originally,
warning light.
what we had, what Sage and I took out of the engine before was this guy, and it had the T. So, you know, the one line was
going into the interior oil pressure gauge, and then the other one was going to this. And it's not metered or anything, so this can feed way too much oil into the head, much more than it needs.
So and why are they saying that they did that originally? Like,
Because
did this retrofit?
Because if you don't do this, some engines, especially towards the front of the cylinder head, apparently will wear out up here. Like, people notice rocker shaft wear, so then they add oil to prevent the rocker shaft wear. But they add so much oil that it wears at the bottom of the engine instead. Because you've only got so much oil pump capacity.
Okay, so we're gonna change it up when we reinstall.
At the very beginning of this whole project, I had bought a new belt because I think you can see in episode 2, my original belt had a tear in it, so I had gotten one, but we hadn't gotten a chance to put it on the engine until now, and it turns out that it doesn't fit, which is really unfortunate. So my dad ended up running out to Napa and he ended up getting a bigger one. The original one that didn't work was 1088, and then the new one he got, which is the next size up, was, I have it written down here, 1107, and that one fit perfectly. So it is unfortunate that during this process I've bought so many parts that I don't need and can't use, but I guess that's just the nature of it. I don't know. Anyways, the new belt fit, and now we're all good to go. We're going to go ahead and look at the clutches for a second. So this cleaner looking one is the one that we had been planning to use in the car this whole time. And then this dirtier looking one is one that I had at home still. And basically, if you look at this cleaner looking one, there's really deep ridges and grooves, and it's actually really important that you don't have those. So that's showing a lot of wear and tear on the clutch. Whereas if you look at the one that looks worse and dirtier, it actually doesn't necessarily have those ridges. So it is in better condition despite not necessarily looking in better condition. But basically, this dirtier one was still at my house. So when Dan and my dad were working this day, they ended up FaceTiming my mom, getting her to find the old clutch, and then Dan decided over FaceTime that the second one looked a lot better wear and tear wise. So his wife was actually so sweet, and she drove to my house, picked up the older clutch, or the other clutch, I guess, for my mom, and then drove it to them. So really, this whole project is a huge team effort, and I am just really grateful for the community that has been created, because I could not have done this without every single one of you. And another thing I want to mention is that we didn't have the correct adjuster tool, so Dan did it all manually, but he did ensure that everything was adjusted the correct way it needed to be. Alright, just for a recap, here is how everything is looking before we put it in. Okay, and there it is. The engine is in the car. I honestly cannot believe I'm saying it. That is the craziest thing ever. I know I didn't get the clearest clip of like the moment it actually went in the car, but honestly, this was like probably 20-25 minutes of us wiggling and jiggling, trying to get it into the right position and then starting to bolt things down to kind of get it to the right angle. So there wasn't really like one moment. It was kind of a process of getting it into the car. But honestly, I can't believe it's in. That is one huge step closer to our goal of making it to British Car Day. I'm really excited. I know we're getting close, but I also know that I do have a lot more content for you guys before British Car Day, which means I'm going to be literally locking in and editing all day, every single day up until then. But I'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.